I would say that 70% is actually sharing sessions, because most of them is that all of the Y Combinator success companies are the founder are sharing their stories. So from Dropbox, from Airbnb, from everything, right? Those companies that has rise, fallen, rise again, fallen again, rise again, and now they're becoming unicorn. They all share the stories, and that make you realize that none of the successful startup has not fallen before. They always experience a failure. They always experience difficulties, a storm, or anything, but they keep raising again and rise again and rise again. So basically, commitment is very important when you do your startup, right? You have to commit on what you're doing. That's one. Second, you never give up. You should never, ever give up.
Hey, this episode is brought to you by Slice. Slice is a creator CRM to help brands and agencies better manage their content creator relationships. Our integrated platform simplifies reporting, payments, and creator relationships for branded sponsored content. Creators, sign up for Slice and get access to brands and agencies who want to hire you for brand deals. We also give you access to your analytics so you can see which channels are growing. And we also create a media kit for you. So with one link, you can send these brands or agencies your entire overview in terms of like who you are, your analytics, your audience demographics, etc. So it's a lot easier to hire you. So go to slice.id, sign up today. Welcome back to the Side Door podcast. We have a great episode for you today. We got my friend Widi Nugroho on the pod. So Widi and I know each other from my Mindshare days. We both work together. Weirdly enough, we're both part of the Bald Brotherhood. And he I think went to school in Wisconsin, right? So we have a lot of similarities. And he started a company. He's a 53-year-old man with a wife and kid, and he started a company, and they got accepted into YCombinator. So the company's Fresh Factory. He is the chief commercial officer, and so I know more about like media, software, influencers, right? And this is all about logistics. So he and I had a really good conversation about like what it is that they are building, and kind of how they're different from the existing options out there. And we talk about YCombinator, right? YCombinator is a prestigious accelerator, right? And so getting in there is a big deal, right? And so what was that like? And then finally, as someone who is advancing in age, I always feel like it's too late for me, etc. Right? And I know a lot of people feel like that. And so Widi, being someone who is a little bit older, but he is doing things that are pretty cool, and he's doing them at an age when most people are kind of like chilling. They're on cruise control. They're not necessarily challenging themselves to do new things, especially stressful things like a startup. So I have a really good conversation with Widi. It's going to be one of the longer episodes, but totally worth the listen. So chop it up, go on a walk, go on a run, whatever you need to do, because this one is definitely worth the listen. All right. So now on to the episode. Hey, Widi, welcome to the pod.
Hi, how are you?
I'm
Long time no
doing.
see.
Yeah, I know, man. Your
Yeah.
hat is covering up our brotherhood.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, I don't have my glasses on, but yeah,
I
you
gotta
are
put my brand on my head.
you're decked out
So
in Fresh Factory.
yes,
So
yes,
how about we start and tell us what is Fresh Factory.
Fresh Factory. Oh,
Just
well,
high level.
actually, uh, Fresh Factory is a network of hyperlocal, of cold chain fulfillment centers, transportation, and a smart fulfillment management system that allows businesses to store, pick, pack, and deliver their products to the consumer better, faster, and more efficient than ever before.
Okay, so explain it to me like I'm five. Basically, you have fulfillment centers all over Indonesia that
In
allow manufacturer
people,
people to just hold cold stuff for delivery, right?
yes,
Because right
yeah.
now,
So So basically now we are so we're doing a hyper local. We call it hyper local. Hyper local because we are there's many of the small warehouses that we have, especially like big city like Jakarta. We have Jabodetabek. We have 14 warehouses, small ones, and as much as possible, we're trying to keep a radius of 8 kilometers to our consumers so that delivery is fast and cheap.
Got
Now
it.
we are now we are in 15 cities and we have 42 warehouses and we are
Mhm.
still growing. So hopefully we can end of the year we're targeting about maybe around 50 to 60 cities in Indonesia with maybe around 100 warehouses.
Okay. Did you say 50 to 60 or 15 to 16?
50 to 60, 50.
So considerable growth in the next 9 months.
Of course. Yes.
Okay. Well,
We
we'll
have grown what from 4 to 42 in 2 years. So we have to grow faster.
yes, everybody has to grow faster. Um,
Yes.
yeah. So we'll get dive deeper into Fresh Factory and your growth and all this, but you and I met, for everyone who doesn't know, at Mindshare. So we both worked at
Yes.
Mindshare. Um, so let people know what your background is, right? Because it is not in logistics, correct?
Yes. Background. Oh my God. If I tell my background, then everyone will know how old I am.
We're gonna find out
Because
anyway.
I well, this is my first startup, but I never become a founder. But I think in my career, I always work at build a startup, someone else's startup. So I started 30 years ago in Unilever for Walls Ice Cream. I worked there for 4 years, 5 years. And then after that, I worked in Unilever Italy for frozen food business for to Horeca. That's another 2 years. Back here, I have experience in Warner Music as commercial director and then Air Asia, which is partly logistic, another 2.5. And Air Asia, I was 8 years in Air Asia. And then after that, about maybe 6 to 7 years in media companies and agencies. And then another 3 years in startup called Salestalk. And then I started this in 2020, right the beginning of COVID.
Oh, perfect time.
Perfect time. Yeah,
Yeah.
usually a big crisis will create big companies. So I said, I'll just do it.
Hey, this podcast started out because of COVID, and I was bored, and
Exactly.
I needed something to do.
Exactly.
Uh,
Exactly. So, yeah.
so
So
you
I got my frozen thing from ice cream when I was in Walls Ice Cream because when I was in Walls Ice Cream, we are. I was located everywhere in the small cities. I experienced to be salesperson. I experienced to be marketing brand manager. I experienced as logistic. So because I was in the management training at that time, so I experienced the whole circle of the business in Walls Ice Cream. So I'm pretty much aware of how difficult it is to deliver or to store frozen products. That's one. And then during the pandemic, I met a friend who is the founder of Rest Factory. His name is Larry. So Larry has cold storage in Ambon in Maluku. He brings fish in bulk and sell it in bulk to Pluit with a very cheap price. And then he mentioned, why is the price difference so big between the retail and the market, the wet market in Pluit? So he decided to try to make consumer packing in Ambon, bring it here, and then sell it through Tokopedia and Shopee. Then he found out that delivery is not easy because, we open a store, we call our friend in Bogor to try to be, hey, I have a store in Tokopedia selling fish, why don't you buy? And they end up calling me back and say, dude, delivery cost is about 80,000 rupiah. Your fish is 50,000 rupiah. I'm not going to buy because the delivery cost is too high. That's one. Second, I called another friend in Kelapa Gading, which is in North Jakarta, right? North Jakarta, and they say, dude, your fish is okay. It's 40,000 rupiah, but, delivery cost is about 70,000 rupiah. And that fish getting here is already not good because it's not frozen anymore. So we figured that for frozen distribution is totally different than for dry products. Because for frozen, I think one distance is a very big matter. Because distance, that means time of delivery. So time of delivery, if you sell it by regular motorcycle, Gojek, and Grab, then you cannot pass 10 minutes or 15 minutes in a non-refrigerated box. Otherwise, the meat or the fish is become melted and broken. So not good. So you have to keep the distance within 15 to 20 minutes only, not more. That's one. Second, when distance is far, then the cost of logistics is high because Gojek and Grab is pretty expensive. The way they charge Gojek and Grab is that the first 8 kilometers is 20,000 rupiah, and then after that is 2,500 rupiah every kilometers. So you can calculate that. So I said, then I brainstormed with Larry and I said, I remember when I was in Walls Ice Cream, they have stock points for the bicycle, the tricycle that is going around the houses with some noise. That stock point is actually within 5 kilometers radius. We have one stock point. So I said, if we are using Gojek and Grab as the main transportation, then their radius is 8 kilometers. We should copy that. So now we have warehouses more or less with 8-kilometer radius in every part of the city.
Okay, so
that's why like Jakarta we have 14.
walls experience coming through. So let me see if I understand this right. So the current problem is there are a limited amount of warehouses that can store cold or frozen stuff, right? So the distance between most delivery is long, so that it's expensive, and the quality of the product deteriorates because it's a long travel time, and Jakarta's hot, so it can go bad, right? And so what you guys have essentially done is created this network of warehouses that are in closer proximity, so that anytime a delivery is supposed to come out, it's basically, I don't want to say ghost kitchen, right? But it's like it's much just shorter distance
it's like a cloud warehouse.
Yeah, so the ghost kit or the
like
Gojek drivers, just instead of having to go 10 kilometers north to get it and then another 8 back to drive it, it's like 2 and 2 or something like that, right?
So currently, if you look at the market before we enter the market, there are a lot of huge cold storages, 20,000 pallets, 30,000 pallets, but all located outside of Jakarta, Bekasi, Cilengsi, Bogor. So none of them is actually in the center of the city because they are huge, they are big, and usually they store it in pallet. One. Second, in those storages, you can only in and out in pallet or boxes, no items.
So that's
While
total
when you
wholesale.
help the marketplace, yes, when you help the marketplace, when you help the SMEs to sell direct to consumers, then you have to be able to open the box and packet the item. Right?
So basically, the existing infrastructure is for these massive warehouses for big distributors who have big refrigerated trucks who can go from the warehouse directly to the store, right? But
Yeah.
you're helping these SMEs who are only selling, a kilo worth of
Items.
fish, right?
Yeah.
Got it. So I guess tell me about these warehouses, right? Because you're telling me that they're significantly smaller than
Yeah.
the big ones, right? So like how and you said you're up to like 40 now, right? So like how are you, like, you're not building the warehouse, right? You're renting a warehouse,
Yeah.
you're equipping it with refrigerators. Like how are you approaching this?
Okay. So the small one, we have like three types of warehouses. The small one is one ruko or one shop house. Basically, is we use shop house as a warehouse. So one shop house, two shop house, four shop house, and central warehouse. The big ones are four warehouses, shop house. The medium one is two shop house, and the small one is one shop.
Can you just define what a shop house is for people?
Shop house is like a ruko. You know ruko?
I
Rumah toko.
is it
It's like
It's where
it's
people
like a
live
building.
and work, right?
Yeah, it's like a building that has usually size are 10 to 10 times 20 meter square. Usually three floor or four floors, and usually people live above and below. They use it as a shop or
Yeah.
as a
So so are these shop houses all cold storage, or do your employees like live there and then like at the bottom you have a bunch of refrigerators?
okay. So I think the first time we open place, we take one shop house and then we put two freezers and two chillers. Those are the beginning. And then as we go along, when we hit about 6 to 8 freezers, then I will change the freezers to a cold room.
Like you turn a room into like a freezer?
Yeah, a cold room. Exactly. So usually I will build the second floor as a cold room. The minute
You
I hit 6 to 8.
so are you like building this with proprietary technology, or like how does that work?
No. It's a cold room is a regular cold room. So it's
Okay.
like a big freezer that you see in movie with inside. There's a lot of beef. There's a lot of chicken. It's the
Dead
same
people
thing.
from the mob. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we built that once the chest. We have 6 to 8 chest freezers. The chest freezers are actually more economical until we hit six of them in every shop houses.
Mm.
And then we start to convert from freezers to cold room. And then I will move the freezers to the new warehouses.
I see. Okay, so you got this loop of the
Yes.
to help you to build and grow, right? So in the beginning, it was just you would rent this little shop house that like is very unassuming, just kind of like where people live, and in the bottom a lot of people just have like a little restaurant or like a textile little company, right? You put in just freezers, right? And then how do you so how did you first start this, right? Because you to start, like, right now it makes sense because you have a ton of these warehouses all over the city, so it's very easy logistically, right? But I'm assuming in the beginning you probably had one or two of these shop houses to start, right? So then
We
how did
started with we started with four. At the beginning, when we start, we have Jakarta, we have South Jakarta, we have Depok, we have Bogor, we have West Jakarta, and Kelapa Gading. So five when we started. And then from the five to become nine. and then from 9 become 14 in Jakarta.
Okay, so for people listening who aren't familiar with Jakarta, right? So you had one in the north, then you had a
One in the
couple.
north, one in the south, one in Depok, which is another city in the south, and Bogor, which is further down in the south, and West Jakarta. That's why.
Okay, but
5 cities.
so you didn't have concentration in one area to make delivery easier in one area. You started out kind of scattered, right? So then how are you getting these businesses to use you?
Okay, so for example, I met so at the beginning we're hunting for SMEs, right? When we're hunting for SMEs, then most of the SMEs are located usually in the North Jakarta or in West Jakarta area. So, when I come to North Jakarta and I ask, you have a big shop for meat, meat, frozen chicken. Why don't you open a branch in the south? I'm asking them who's your buyer. Mostly are the people in the North Jakarta with the radius of 8 kilometers, right? Makes sense. So I said, you have a good product. You can sell a lot of chicken, a lot of beef in your area. Why you don't want to expand? And they always say, how am I going to put the products? He said, that means I have to put a products in a location in South Jakarta. But I don't want to invest anything there because it's risky. One. Second, who's going to guard my product? What if it's lost? What if it's stolen? Who's going to do the pick pack? Who's going to manage everything, right? Then I said, so if I do it for you, I manage it for you. I have the warehouse. You just have to pay the rent. Would you do it? And he said, yes. Yeah, he said yes. He will do it because uh, then I don't have to invest and I don't have to do anything, right? So basically, you just sell and product will come out from me. Then second question is that, but how do I know if the product is there? Then I realized that I need to have a system, right? So first factory we built a WMS. It's actually a mix of WMS, FUMS, and IMS. So WMS is warehouse inventory system. Uh, FUMS is fulfillment management system, and then inventory management system. Those three is the more important that we lump it into our system. And then we base the so every product will have an IQ. I call it the item keeping unit. A lot of people know SKU. SKU is the system keeping unit. But the SKU is actually only determine one product with one variant at one size, right? But the item is not didn't detect the item, so we created what we call IQ, which is the item keeping unit. It's like a barcode. We stick it in the product so that we know every product is a different kind. So with that, so we built the system and then we launched in 5 warehouses. And then we tried the system with IQ so that we know the product. We can do FIFO or we can do FEFO. So FIFO is first in, first out. FEFO is first expired, first out. So all the data is actually you can see it in the barcode. In the system, you can put in your expiration date. You can also put your minimum delivery date, and then you can put whether you want to be first in, first out, or whether you want to be first expired, first out. Then when the order comes, it is going to go to our system, and then our worker in the warehouse using the handphone, it will come out a QR code, and he has to scan on the product. Then he will know this product is the one that has to be packed. So it's it's the system actually that make it easy. It's the system actually that so that it's replicable and scalable. towards different warehouses, many warehouses in different cities and different areas,
So
because we have the system.
you made this IKU system or IKU system custom, right? And so you're telling these SMEs, hey, your business is limited to 8 kilometers right now. We can expand it to all of Jakarta, surrounding cities. All you need to do is put in your items and then ship bulk to
Yeah,
our warehouses, and then your team manages all of that.
yeah, yeah.
So then let's say I'm selling fish, right, and I'm using you. I get an order, right? Who gets the order for the fish, right? How does that happen? Who gets the order, and then how does I'm assuming your warehouse worker somehow is notified that they need to deliver a kilo worth of fish to Jesse in Kuningen, and then they just order like a Gojek or a Grab.
Okay, so this is how it works. Mostly the order are coming from marketplace. So it happens in Tokopedia, or it happens in Shopee, or it happens in Blipli, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of my tenants usually have a store in Tokopedia or in Shopee or in Blipli. So order will come from the marketplace, right? Me, Fresh Factory, is connected through omni-channel like Jubelio or Desti or Master Online or For Stock to the marketplace. So when there's an order coming from the marketplace, from Tokopedia, for example, then Tokopedia will send the order to me, right? One. Second, when we launched about 2 years ago, Tokopedia also launched what they call multi-origin. So multi-origin in Tokopedia, that means that you can register a different warehouses in Tokopedia, and the Tokopedia will allocate the order to the closest warehouse that is closest to the consumer's address. So Jesse, when you go to Tokopedia, you already put in your address, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the minute you put in your address, then Tokopedia will allocate you to the closest Fresh Factory warehouse. The order will come from Tokopedia. Tokopedia goes through Jubelio. Jubelio goes to me. Then my people will pack it. Once we pack, we click ready. When we click ready, a signal sending into Jubelio and then to Tokopedia. And then Tokopedia will send the Gojek to my warehouse to pick up the product delivered to Jesse.
Gotcha. Okay, so there's multi-platform integrations here to help with the logistics, but the end warehouse is you, right? So
yeah,
you're the one opening up these these shop houses. You're the ones who are ultimately sending the product to the end user, that last mile user. But your IKU system does not work directly to the seller. It's through these
it's only in
e-commerce.
my system.
So this seems very, very easy sell for these SMEs because it doesn't seem like they have to do a whole lot at this point. Am I incorrect?
Yes. Yes. Well, of course, there's a cost for everything, right? So I think the target, because then the target for me is actually an SME that is ready to scale. If the SME is not ready to scale, then they can do it themselves, which is cheaper. So, but if they want to scale, so they want to sell to the whole Jakarta, or they want to sell, oh, I want to expand to Bandung, I want to expand to Semarang, Jogja, Solo, then that's the time when they use us. My benchmarking is about when an SME can sell a product about 10 to 20 products per day, then they are actually ready to grow. But if their sales is actually less than about 10 a day, I don't think using us is cost efficient.
But I mean, even 10 a day is as a benchmark is still relatively like low, right? Like you're not talking, hundreds of orders a day, right? So this can a lot of business owners can use you in this in this regard. Very interesting. One last question about your kind of like business model before we get into YC. How are you charging for this? Is it like you said, is there's like a monthly like rent that you're charging people? Is it per package?
So I mix between AirAsia and telco. Okay. So in AirAsia is basically you pay what you use. They call it pay as you use. And in telco is wallet, right? So it's a prepaid wallet in telco. So I kind of mix that. So for SMEs, I create a wallet. They can put in the money in the wallet, and then I will cut the charges at pay as you use. The way I charge is so I'm using the sharing models. So one chest freezer is, you don't have to necessarily run me one chest freezer. You only run me a space, which is your products, right? So if this is the size of your products, then you pay actually this size. So you will have a daily rental at this size. You have a fulfillment cost at this size, and you have a packaging cost at this size. The packaging cost and fulfillment costs will only be charged to you when the sales is happening. So when there's a sales of this product, then I will pick and pack and put it in packaging. That's when the charge come to you. One. Second, daily rent is actually you're paying to store this product in my place at this size daily, starting from 200 rupiah.
200 rupiah is like what, 5 cents?
A piece. Really.
Yeah, very low.
And fulfillment charges started from 1,500 per product.
So that's like,
and also packaging,
10 cents. It's very low.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So you definitely need scale for this to become.
Yes. Exactly. because by having this concept, right, then people they don't have to be afraid to try, because you're only paying what you use, and you're only paying as much as this. I mean, you don't have to run me the whole chest freezer and you worried that, oh, I cannot fill it up, right? Because I charge you by pieces. But big corporates are different. So usually when you talk about big corporates, they sometimes wants to use a dedicated freezer or something, which can be done. But for the small SMEs, I always encourage them to try a new city, a new warehouse. Then I can say you can put as much as you want. There's no minimum charge. I mean, you can try with 5 T-bones in Bandung, or you can try with 5 T-bones in Semarang, see if it sells. If it doesn't sell, then you can withdraw, right? So you don't have to be afraid with that. I mean, if you try with 5 T-bones in Semarang and it works, you can add another 5 T-bones and 5 sirloins and see if it works. If it works, then you can increase the number of volume, right?
Yeah. Wow. Very low risk for them in that regard.
Right? That's one. Second, so we want to help the SME to actually grow, to actually expand their business, not only in Jakarta, but also to different cities in Indonesia.
This is making a lot of sense. So in the intro, I was talking about YCombinator. It's this accelerator program in the US and Silicon Valley, and some of the top companies in the world have come out of there, right? It's very prestigious. It's harder than Harvard to get into, right? So companies like Dropbox, Airbnb, Reddit, off the top of my head, are some of the alumni that have come through YC. But there's been an absolute flood of companies, right? But they're very, very high quality, and so it's a really cool program. And quite frankly, it's US based, so they're starting to let in more international companies. But still, Indonesia, I think there are very, very few amount of companies who have been accepted, right? So I took this opportunity to ask Widi, what it was like, and why he thought it was such a great program. So that's what we're going to be talking about next. All right. So your background, proudly indicates that you guys were a part of YCombinator Winter 2022.
Yes.
Not a lot of Indonesian companies are a part of YCombinator, right? So for those who don't know, YCombinator is a prestigious accelerator in Silicon Valley, right? So kind of like tell me the process. Like, how did you guys decide that you wanted to apply? Like, what was, because that was still during COVID, right? So like, I'm
Yeah,
assuming
yeah,
you didn't go to San Francisco like a normal class would, right?
yeah. I think it's really good actually. It's amazing, you know. I think it's a very good program. The accelerator is like it's like a university for startups. And I think now they even have classes for startups, program classes for startup for 3 months, which is very good. I mean, if you want to do a startup, that program is really really awesome. So at the beginning we're not sure if we are going to be accepted in Y Combinator. We heard about Y Combinator a lot, but usually Y Combinator are for a startup at a stage level of ideation stage level. So we already running at 1 year at that time. So I thought it's a bit too late. Is it a bit too late? If it's not, I don't know. But then one of my angel investor, his name is Hendra Quick from Payfast. He's also a Y Combinator. I think he is YC S17, summer 2017. He's one of my angels, and he said, "You guys definitely should register to Y Combinator." At that time, it was in August 2021. So he said, "You should register." I said, "Are you sure, Hendra? I mean, we are, the founding team. I'm 53. Larry, who is the founder, is 42. And then I have a CFO, Andre, at 27. So we are a three generation with 10 years gap in each of us. Are you sure Y Combinator will accept us?" And then Hendra was like, "Yeah, man, you should do it because I think your company is one of a kind. There's no competitor in Indonesia. And actually, what he mentioned is that you have a very good product market fit. That's the term that Y Combinator always use. It's a product market fit. So it's basically a product positioning, right?
Mhm.
So when your startup has a very clear product market fit to the problem that happen in your country or in your target market, then you should apply, because then this startup will help to solve the problem. That's one. Second, whether your startup is scalable at national level or even at regional level. So if the problem is happens national in Indonesia, which already quite big, or even regional in ASEAN, or even worldwide, then your idea is scalable. So one is product market fit, two is scalability. When those two meet, then Y Combinator will invest in you, right? So now, so we start registering to Y Combinator, and one of the thing that we have to submit is actually a 1 minute video of explaining your startup, uh, the product market fit, what is your startup, and how does it solve the problem in your surroundings or in your country. So what is the problem? What is the market size? What is your product? How is the product market fit? What kind of problem that it will solve? And is it scalable? And you have to explain in 1 minute video. Then you submit it. So we submit all of that. Y Combinator says that if you're accepted, you will receive an email at the beginning of December. We didn't get the email. So I said, Oh my God, we're not gonna get it. So I decided I go to Bali at the time for New Year's. And then on the 3rd of January, we got a call from YCombinator and said, "Are you free? Can you do a video interview in 3 days' time?" I said, "Yeah, let's do it." So there's a 20 minutes interview with YCombinator. So they interview us. So they're asking how's your business, how the product market fit, what is our revenue so far, how many fulfillment centers do you have now, how many fulfillment orders that you can do in one day and stuff like that. And he said, okay, the interview happens at 4 o'clock in the morning, by the way, in Jakarta. Because the interviewer is in San Francisco, right? So
Yeah.
and then he said, I will let you know by noon, he said, noon Jakarta time, if you're accepted or not. And by noon, he called and said, "You're the last company that we accept." So we got accepted. So I'm very blessed actually, because at my batch there's 375,000 applicants all over the world, and the acceptance rate is about 2.75% of those 375,000 applicants. I heard it's harder than entering Harvard.
Look, it is. As someone who has previously been rejected by YCI, I know, but I think the most remarkable thing about this is one, like YC is very open, like they want a technical CTO, right? A technical co-founder with, and then they typically invest in software based companies, right? You guys have created some, but like the core of your business is not software, right? And so I find that, you know, and then you take a look at your founding team, which you have outlined as like a diverse age range, right? And like it's, you know, the odds would be definitely stacked against you, but I think, you know, in our first segment, I was trying to understand your business a lot deeper, right? And the more you talked about it to me, the more it just made a lot of sense, and it just seems like, for me, like a no-brainer. So I totally understand like why they you know, they ultimately chose you, right? I think it's, you know, it's great for you guys, but I think it's also great for Indonesia, right? More Indonesian companies getting that global exposure. So I
Yeah.
guess, you know, the program's what, 3 months long?
Yes. So then the hell starts, right?
Yeah.
The hell starts because we don't go to Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
We cannot go to Silicon Valley at that time. So it's all online Zoom. So all online Zoom. The program stands for 3 months. We have a coach, right? We have a coach which we do a Zoom call every week, but then also the classes that we have to attend. Now the classes start at 11 p.m. until 3 a.m. Jakarta time.
Oh.
So at night I go to school to YC. In the morning I have to work, you know, and then sleep, and then wake up again at 11, and then join the classes until 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and then. But it's a very good, very very good classes, because you know, most of the well, it's actually not a class. It's actually like a sharing session. Most of it, I would say that 70% is actually sharing sessions, because most of them is that all of the Y Combinator success companies are the founder are sharing their stories. So from Dropbox, from Airbnb, from everything, right? Those companies that has rise, fallen, rise again, fallen again, rise again, and now they're becoming unicorn. They all share the stories, and that make you realize that none of the successful startup has not fallen before. They always experience a failure. They always experience difficulties, a storm, or anything, but they keep raising again and rise again and rise again. So basically, commitment is very important when you do your startup, right? You have to commit on what you're doing. That's one. Second, you never give up. You should never ever give up, because 100% of those startups always going through a storm, always going through difficulties, ups and downs. It's always there, always there. I mean, Airbnb is big right now. When you see right now, it's big, but at the beginning, they are struggling as much as I am, I would say.
They were selling
So, and they
cereal.
all share the story,
So
and they all share.
is there a story that stood out to you that you might not have been aware of before Y Combinator?
Oh yeah, definitely, because most of the companies are startup, and I never know. I mean, I never know the ups and downs of Airbnb, and Airbnb going through a lot. At the beginning of the States, they're trying to find the product market fit for almost 2 years. 2 years to find the right product market fit. So it's a long time, but their commitment and their belief on the ideas is so strong, so that they're trying to to search for the product market fit. Those are the most important thing. But the minute you got the product market fit, then you're there, right? But even that, growing is another problem, because scalability is another problem. I mean, when you have, I experience it myself. When I have 5 warehouse, 9 warehouse, it's the same. It's easy. But the minute you have 15 warehouse, it's different. The minute you have 25 warehouse, it's totally different. The minute you have 40, it's totally different again. So, in every step of the way, when you scale, a different problem will come out, and a different system needed, a different automation will be needed,
Mm-hmm.
a different monitoring system will be needed, right? Because you're growing your business, and those are not, we have to do a lot of trial and errors as well, and we should not give up.
No, I think that definitely
That's
makes sense.
that's something that, yeah, that's something that we learn. And then another thing is that you should never underestimate VCs, investors, because sometimes the smallest investors at the beginning will become the biggest investors at the end.
I'm sure there's a lot of VCs listening who
Yeah,
love
that's
that.
one. Second, there's a lot of people that actually underestimate investors when they do the interview, but then they end up becoming your investors. So, yeah. And I also heard people that pivot for 3, 4 times before they find the product market fit. So pivoting is actually not a bad idea. There's a lot of people that actually pivoting their product to find the product market fit, because ideation is usually good on papers, but the minute you go into the market and then you try into the market, then you have to adjust here and there, and sometimes you have to pivot darker. So it's okay.
This is great for me to hear, because I'm knee deep in this right now, refactoring our product, trying to get that product market fit. If I had hair before we started this company, it would have been gone already. It's a hell of a ride.
Well, but you got nothing to lose, so just go ahead and do it, right?
Yeah, nothing to lose.
You got
Um,
nothing. You can just do it.
so
But yeah, we learn a lot in Y Combinator, right? Especially because, I mean, you can read a lot of books about Unilever, about Coke, about Nike, about stuff, but you
yeah,
don't read books Airbnb. You don't, you don't read books about Dropbox, about many things, right?
Yeah, I
about
mean, I've watched some of the online classes, so I have an idea of what you're talking about. I'm sure you guys get a much more intimate opportunity with all of this.
yes.
One thing that you were talking about, right, is the age, right? And I think before we started, you told me that you were the oldest guy in the group, right, in the YC, right? And I think this is fantastic, right? And I want to talk to you about this, right? Because 53 or 52, 53, going on, over 50, let's say, right? You started your first company after 50 years old. You're married with I think a kid or two kids, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
So you're much more mature, further along in life than a lot of entrepreneurs, right? And I think as I get up there in age, right, I think there's this sentiment that people feel like they're stuck, they're afraid, like it's too late, their opportunities have gone, right? So like what kind of advice would you give someone, whether they're young, whether they're like, in my late 30, early 40s kind of age range, or like, who are like feeling like they fucked up and they lost all their opportunity.
Well, yeah, you never too late to start, but don't start too late. So, I think at any time of your age, you should be there should be you can start something, anything, anywhere, at any age, right? I mean, but you do still need the energy actually to do a startup. So that's why I would recommend. I think I feel that the best age to start a startup is about 40. So when you are in the 40s, I think because you have a very good experience already, you probably already work for 15 years or 20 years. Then when you start, you do your own startup, you are actually quite well equipped with experience. That's one. Second, uh, I think I'm very lucky because I can create a startup with through younger founders, right? Because Larry is 40, which is 10 years younger than me, and Andre is 27. So I said to Larry when I was about to create this company, we need a young guns. Come on, dude. We are a startup, so we need something young, below 30 that can work like a horse. So so we found a partner, right? With the same vision, with the same he has his own tax consultant company. He's very good in finance. He's ex EY. He's pretty smart, and he's still very young, 27. So yeah, we asked him to be a founder, and he wants to do it because he wants to be an entrepreneur as well. So the three of us is actually a very good combination because when you are getting older, you tend to a little bit reluctant to try something new. But your new one, but the young ones is like, fuck it, let's try it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's just do it. If it's wrong, it's wrong. It's okay. Let's just do it. That's the young ones. Well, the old ones are, I don't think this is gonna work. But actually, like what I said, when you have the three of us together and sit and think about it, and then there's many times that I changed my mind as well to let's do it because you know my other founder who's younger than me say that, hey dude, it's worth to try. So yeah, I think you should try and do it. As far as you're ready for the commitment, that's one. Second, you make sure that your product has a very good product market fit, solving a problem, and it can be scaled.
Very good advice. So I'm gonna ask you for one more piece of advice before we go. Someone, let's say someone out there listening is ready to start their company, right? Anything that you would, aside from, it's never too late, commit, find product market fit, right? Anything that you've learned starting the company that you didn't know before you started the company that you would share with someone who's about to start their first company?
Uh, Well, the founding team is very important, right? So the founding team, like I said, the founding team is very important. You know, when you have three founders, two founders, sometimes four founders, that's okay. As far as you can gel in together. But once you have this founding team, you have to be able to trust each other 100%. That's one. Second, you have to be honest with all of them. You have to be able to fight every day and become friends at any time, right? Because creating a startup is not easy. It's a full commitment. 100% of your time is there. I even work on Saturday and Sunday now because of this startup. Seriously, I have to come to the office on Saturday and Sunday because on Saturday and Sunday, me and the two other founders, we don't have any work days that we have to do, so we can sit and brainstorm and chit chat and laugh and drinks and
Mhm.
but get together and let's, hey dude, what is next? What are we going to do next? What are we going to hit next? And then after that, Monday is day to day. I'm going to be busy with my commercial thing. Andre is going to be busy with looking for funding. Larry is going to be busy with another thing. So and we fight every day. I mean, there's one time one of the VC in Singapore called me up. Is that, Larry, I heard that Widi is gonna quit from the founding because you fight with him. And Larry was like, which fight? We fight every day.
I'm
Our VC is like, you guys splitting? Because you fight like hell. I was like, no. I think when you don't fight, that's the danger, because then you're gonna keep it to yourself. Because when you're creating a company, there's a lot of problems, and you're definitely gonna fight. That's why among the founding team, you have to know that you can trust each other and you can be honest to each other. You can fight anytime and become friends at the end.
I'm laughing because I'm gonna clip this and send it to my co-founder. Because
Yeah, I mean, I
I
would
know what
say
you're
with
saying.
you.
I know what you're saying,
Right?
right? And I
Yeah,
think that's why I'm comfortable with her, because I can yell and get angry, and I know that like she'll show up the next day, right? Um
exactly.
yeah. No, I think that's
And
great
the minute
advice.
you're not fighting, that's dangerous, because the minute you're not fighting, that means there's grudge that you hold inside your heart
Yeah.
that you let it out. And when you build something, I mean, it has to be. I mean, the fights will always be there, and you have to trust each other and be honest with each other that, dude, that's gonna work. I don't agree with that. I don't want to do that, or you gotta fight it until you got a solution to it.
No,
But you have to do it.
this makes a lot of sense, and I think that founder quarrels are a big reason why startups fail. And it's because they say it's founder fighting, but I think it's deeper than that, right? It's they're not probably like they're not fighting, right? There's disagreements, but they're not communicating it, and that's what is leads to these problems that ultimately ruin the company. So
You
good
know,
to know.
in YC,
Yeah.
if you're in US, see, they hired a person, psychologist, to help the founding team to get together.
A Wendy Rhodes, like from the Billions.
Yeah,
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 no, that's smart. That's smart.
so it's awesome. Yeah, but yeah, you have to trust your founding team.
Woody, thank you so much for the time. Thanks for the knowledge.
Thank
This has
you.
been
I thank
great.
you. If anyone needs helps to build a startup, let me know.
Me?
We should meet and have a chit chat.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know what? You know what? You should not tired applying to YC, because I know people that actually every year they apply to YC. So they tweak the product,
Yeah.
they find a product market fit, and then they reapply to YC. And they got accepted after 3 times. I'm just lucky that I got accepted the first time. I know a lot of people that are actually applying for YC for 3, 4 times, and they only got it by then. And I tell you, whether it's worth it or not, yes, it's worth it, Jesse, because one, of course, the material is good because you get to know, you got to learn a lot about the startup, a lot of unicorns that actually you can learn from the YC. But second, it actually elevate your valuation a lot, a lot. You know, the minute I got YC, my valuation is about 30 million US.
That's hard to
Or
get here.
maybe 1 to 2 million US.
Yeah, dude. American valuations versus Indonesian valuations are very different.
Exactly. And before YC, I'm trying to meet investor. It's really difficult. Before YC, I'm trying to pitch to VCs. It's really difficult. The minute you got into YC, all of those VC are lining up to see you as soon as possible.
Yeah, herd mentality. I know, and I know the difficulty of getting those pitch meetings and getting investments. Nothing is easy when it comes to startups. I think that's one of the lessons here. Never give up. It's never too late, and commit and work
Okay.
your ass off. Thanks, man.
All right. Thanks, man.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Side Door podcast. I appreciate any likes and ratings that you will give us. I really appreciate it if you share this with a friend. We always appreciate a larger audience to hear the stories of these entrepreneurs in Indonesia. If you go to sidedoor.xyz, that's going to take you to our Spotify playlist, so you can hear all of the episodes there. You can subscribe there. And here we're doing a little bit more video. So if you go to sidedoor.video, that's going to take you to our YouTube channel, so you can subscribe there. You can watch the episodes there. You can kind of track where my funky eyes are going and my weird faces that I make when people are speaking. But I'm pretty excited about this. We've got a lot more cool guests coming on. So appreciate any help that you can give me to spread the word of this podcast. If you have any suggestions for the pod or potential guests, hit me up on Twitter at Jesse Bouman. Until next time, stay curious.